Welcome back, guys. We are now on Chapter 3 of Into the Wild from the original series. And I gotta say, it is such a big chapter with so many things that happen and so many new cats. Like, holy cow,
Definitely overwhelming.
yeah, like I was aware of it because I glanced at it last time we did it. I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be fun next chapter. But I didn't realize exactly how much. Like how last time I had a half a page of notes. I have one, two, three, four, five, 6 pages plus an attempt at a family tree slash timeline, all from this one chapter. It's kind of insane.
A
But
lot.
yeah. Real quick though, we do have to show our fan arts, the three favorite fan arts of this chapter. So first things first, we have this one here, submitted by you, I believe.
Yes.
At first, I was like, why is Cloudtail in this? I always forget that White Storm is also a big white cat. Whenever I see a white cat, I immediately think Cloudtail. But yeah, it's White Storm, which
I
is,
yeah,
yeah,
I imagine him as like a shorter hair cat, but
yeah,
AI can only do so much.
big old fluffy boy. I like it though. Like, I mean, for when we'll get into it in a second, but I feel like White Storm comes off as a bit abrasive for some reason in this when he's not at all. But we'll get to that in a bit. He just kind of, I don't know. He has a little bit of an attitude, which isn't like him. But number two is actually a very emotional one for us. Um, Back in the day when we were, jeez, high school. So what? How old are we? What was that? Like 10, 15 years ago, something like that. Um,
It
we
was
were
over
really into
16 years.
Warriors, and a friend of ours, Chantel, was also huge into it, and unfortunately, since then, Chantel has passed away. So this is an image that she made that we wanted to share with everyone. I believe it's Blue Star. It unfortunately wasn't captions. We're not totally sure, but we want to share this one for her. We also have an original character of hers named. Let me pull it up for you. This is Gentle Star, Gentle Heart, Gentle Star. You made this one, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, in honor of the cat that she had described. But Gentle Star or Gentle Heart, whichever you wanted her to go by, was Chantel's character, and very pretty cat. We really would have loved for her to be able to watch this with us. I think she would have loved it. She would have been submitting art left and right. You know it. Like she loved doing these kind of things. But we wanted to share them with everyone and in memory of her. So those are our favorites for this week. I know two of them were for her, but it's for a good reason. Anything you'd like to say about them?
I like them all.
Yes, very true.
Um, no, I just, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, man, it would have been like cool to have her like co-star on this for a few episodes.
Yeah,
She
it's
would have
like
been so into that, so.
she could have like popped in, and it is very very unfortunate. We miss her. She was a very bright, happy about everything. Always had an amazing like outlook on
Really
life and
loved
everything.
life
Yeah,
and wanted
absolutely
to
did.
share like it was like her mission to like share that with everybody. So
Yeah.
that's literally like why she named like why her cat was named Gentle Heart because the suffix of that name, like she was gentle paw when she started role playing the character. It was someone else who actually gave her the name Gentle Heart. Um so I mean she
Makes it
role
all the
played all
more
the way up to
sad
Gentle
that mine,
Star, so
everyone I used was like a murderous rogue. But I always played bad guys. But yeah,
I feel
it
like yeah, that was kind of your thing though.
literally in everything. Even when we moved up to like for my book, always the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't play a very good bad guy.
I like
So
playing bad guys. They're more fun.
nice guys finish last, I suppose.
Very true. But yeah, so those were our first pictures that we have. I do have some more that are being submitted, and I didn't even tell you this. I have a surprise at the end of this video. We're gonna
All
see it at the
right.
very end. I made my own fan art, not AI. I drew something. No AI. Well, for the outline, but like I actually drew it, and I think it's like legit good. So I'm pretty excited
Oh,
about it.
so I guess that means that I need to. Well, I'm not gonna draw. I'll paint something.
I mean, I didn't Photoshop, but yeah, you know. But yeah, so if we're getting into it, I noticed because we said last time that we thought it was weird that Drim's from StarClan, no StarClan cats, because later on when Fireheart or whoever Firestar whatever, there's always StarClan cats in his dreams, but his original dream of hunting the mouse, it was just him. But now that he's met clan cats, in his next dream of hunting the mouse, he's being watched by clan cats. So as soon as he understood them, they're in his dream now. So I thought that was a cool detail.
Yeah, I actually I know that like the hint is that it's supposed to be ThunderClan, but I almost wonder if it's actually supposed to be like StarClan watching him. Because the clan ThunderClan doesn't know him or know of him. It's StarClan who's sending him these
Yeah,
dreams and stuff like that. I couldn't find anything whether or not it was one way or another, but I'm also really bad at research, so
I always assumed it was StarClan. Could be ThunderClan. I don't know. I always assumed it, especially like well, it says dozens of yellow eyes, which I don't know. Maybe that's stars kind of thing.
that's what I was thinking.
Doing like a
Yeah,
stretch
like
there, but maybe.
well, no, because that's how I took it was it's StarClan, but I feel like reading it, it's implied that it should have been ThunderClan since like he's finally like met the clan cats
Yeah,
and everything else.
either or
Uh,
probably makes sense.
I also feel like cat's eyes tend to just kind of reflect that like weird yellowy type color at night. So
I mean, yeah, just like he met Gray Stripe, who has yellow eyes, or Gray Paw. I think Lionheart has amber eyes, and then Blue Star has blue eyes. So
Lionheart has
yeah,
green eyes.
he has green.
Yeah, because it's we'll get there a little further into the chapter, but it says green eyes peering out from the bracken, bramble, something like that. Pretty sure it was green.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
I thought that was weird too, because I didn't picture him with green eyes ever, so
does it say it in here?
it's did I write it down by chance? No.
Yeah, they don't say it in here. They probably do. Hold on. Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, it's smudge.
What in the world? Not loin heart. Lion heart.
Loinheart.
No. Yes. Okay, he does have green.
Rusty, yeah. So, you have a lot to learn. Meow to deep voice. Even the tiniest clan kit knows where when another cat is nearby. Rusty saw a pair of green eyes glinting from beneath the bramble bush.
For some reason, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so he has green eyes. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting, like to think who exactly is he seeing, and then I love that he says he slept in like an hour. Maybe that. Maybe an hour. Like they missed the baby robin stretching their wings. And then Smudge knows the Great, is over there like, "Oh yeah, you're so lazy now, blah blah blah," cuz he slept in 1 hour. Like Smudge, what do you have to do with your life that's so important that Rusty had to be out there exactly at dawn? Like he wasn't even
I
chasing the baby birds.
have so much to say about like all of the like lazy like cracks and stuff versus like the showing of laziness in like this part of the chapter before he goes into the forest. Like I love the fact like we were talking about I think in the last video you said that you wish that they would show you more of
Yeah.
like how like soft kitty pet life is and stuff like that, how hard, so I feel like Smudge did a great job in like less than 2 pages basically of showing us like how soft kitty pets actually are, how lazy they are. Like,
Like it's
you
yeah,
know,
because he yawns. Then he says he couldn't be bothered to chase baby birds And then he says that Rusty is lazy for sleeping in an hour. Like, are you like he
Yeah.
did so much in one little paragraph.
I also like I mean even like Smudge just in this whole in this whole part. I wanted to
Better not be
touch
putting
on
down Smudge Star the Great.
I wanted to touch on we all love him a little later in the book too. Um I love how Smudge also he's like, like, oh, like you fought all those cats off on your own when Rusty's like, yeah, I met 3 clan cats last night, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, you fought them all? Like, no. But then Rusty's like, yeah, they invited me to join them. And Smudge is like, what? No.
I literally have a note about that. He's willing to believe that Rusty fought off 3 wildcats, but he will not believe that they invited him. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's crazy, but I mean, what's more believable? I mean, sure,
Really?
Graypaw, but
I feel
uh,
like that whole thing was just like, are you kidding me?
I mean, Rusty is honest. He's like, I only fought the youngest one. The other two came later. And yeah, it's like his. He said they wanted. They asked me to join their clan, and then Smudge's whiskers quivered disbelievingly. Like, yeah, but you're willing to believe that he just fought off 3 cats by himself.
Exactly. I mean, like, maybe it's like the just like sheltered, ideas from what is essentially like, probably still like a kid, so to speak,
Yeah.
like not quite super young, but like,
He'd
not
be like,
not
yeah, I went to the zoo and
worldly
saw a
yet.
lion. Did you pet it? No.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. No, I did not pet the lion.
Are you sure? No, I didn't pet the lion, but I was able to feed it.
Yeah.
What?
And then
But
Smudge does have a point here when he's like, it sounds a bit odd. I wouldn't trust them if I were you. He's kind of right. Like, Rusty literally just met strangers, nudist strangers in the woods, and is just like, oh, well, okay. I guess this is fine. I'm gonna join them. Okay, sorry, what was I saying? Um,
nudist
yes,
strangers.
nudist strangers. They're naked, they don't wear collars. But yeah, and he just straight up joins them.
I mean, like he seems to be comfortable with it. Something's pulling him, telling him to trust them and pulling him forward. Probably the, visions from StarClan and everything else. Another thing I want to touch on before we get away from Smudge is the fact that I feel like Smudge gives up pretty easily. And I feel like a little bit later on in this chapter, there's something about bonds being formed and stuff like that, and like we'll highlight it like when we get there. But I feel like the Smudge just being kind of like, okay, well, I see I can't change your mind, like just after like, oh, please don't go, and Rusty's like, yeah, I'm going. And he's like,
It is sad. That's
okay,
like his
well,
best friend. But if you think about it, I don't think they could have known each other too long because it's not like Rusty would have been gotta look into that. Like what age cats normally can be adopted out? Because he's 6 months here, so he would have maybe known him like what 3 months, 2 3 months.
maybe, but I also feel like, like, "Oh, you're my best friend, blah, blah, blah," and it's like, I feel like it just goes to show, like, the weak bond between kitty pets, like,
Yeah,
like, the interactions between Smudge and Rusty, like, what did I actually write? I said, basically, Smudge shows us how, weak, lazy, and unbonded kitty pets are, caring more for their comfy life and home than each other.
yeah.
Um Whereas the clan cats, like, you live and die by the clan. And in fact, there's a whole note on that too later on.
Which is probably why
Um,
Rust or Firepaw at that point is so big into the clan because it's like that family ties pretty much that he gets. Which I mean, we'll get more to it in Fire and Ice with the actual literal family ties. But
yeah, but that was the last thing I had for Smudge Nose Smudge Star. like,
well, I have I think it's funny that Rusty has grown up knowing the word vet. He knows that word, and yet he's already saying cutter. He's heard it once in his life, and he didn't even know what it meant, but he figured it out, and he's already using cutter. Like
and he's
it's the
yeah he's
vet.
using the clan terms. He does clarify,
Yeah, he's like,
but then
the
immediately goes back
vet.
to saying better.
But which goes back to again, he really wants to keep his manhood. We talked about it last time, but this is another point of why he does not want to stay a kitty pet because he doesn't want to get neutered. And then
Hmm.
yeah, so they do spend the day together, and they're saying that they're going around and visiting old friends and stuff. I'm wondering, do you think Princess was one of the ones they visited?
Probably.
Because she doesn't know that he's joined the clans, so either they visited and he didn't tell her, or they didn't visit her. But like she's in their territory, like her house. So you'd think they would have gone, but I don't know. Maybe just he's not close with
Maybe
his
he
sister
didn't
at this
tell
point.
anybody. There's a good chance he didn't tell like anybody but Smudge. Like, hey, by the way, I'm leaving. Goodbye.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, apparently he had a decent amount of friends, but we only
I
know
feel
of
like it's.
Smudge, maybe Henry. It'd been really
I feel
cool if
like it.
Henry actually was Pine Star, and when he told him why, if like there was some sort of like flash of recognition or something in there, that'd been really cool.
That'd have been, yeah. That'd have been a cool nod.
Yeah,
Um, I feel like as far as like the lots of friends go, it's like, like if you live on like a cul-de-sac or something, and like, yeah, like I know my neighbors and I can kind of say like, yeah, we're all like hunky dory and stuff like that, but you're not actually friends.
yeah,
Like
makes
y'all live
sense.
nearby, but like
It's like
it's
I'd
very
be
rare to
okay with
actually be
going and asking them for some milk, but I don't want to hang out, kind of thing.
or like, yeah, I'll like, I'll have,
Say hi at the bus
a
stop.
movie night or whatever, but like that's it.
Yeah, makes sense.
We did cul-de-sac movie nights, but I don't think any of the
I
adults
didn't.
actually like each other.
Most of my cul-de-sac was some snotty kids. No offense if
I was
anyone
a
watching.
snotty kid.
Sure, sure. So I skipping ahead a bit. I think it's kind of funny that when Lionheart and Bluestar first walked out, chapter 2 chapters before, he seemed almost like he was kind of nervous, but he is only crouching because Greypaw was. He was more curious. But then White Storm comes up, and he's terrified. He wasn't scared of like two strange cats, but now it's White Storm, and he's just like, all right, I'm gonna have to fight this guy. That I don't know.
Well,
White Storm's apparently a very intimidating man.
White Storm's described as being like I feel like if they describe you as being muscular, it's because you look scary muscular. Like, yeah, like he goes to the gym, he works out. He's an older warrior.
He does. He
Um,
does his leg presses.
and not only that, but like that like what sun-baked sand color eyes, like those can be kind of intimidating. He's probably like very large and just very like what's the word? Like sure of himself.
Yeah, confident.
Basically. So yeah, confident. That's what I meant. Thank you. But because he's like, confident, and he like just strodes out like nonchalant, but like, hey, I'm here. Um, yeah, I'd probably, be scared too.
It's kind of weird because like if I was a rogue or a kitty pet or whatever joining the clans, I would think if I got to pick, I would want to meet White Storm first because like throughout the entire series, he's patient, he's understanding, he's just an all around good dude. Like I think I would want
Mhm.
to know him, but he's like the first one he meets, and he's intimidated by him. So it's got to be more of size, how he looks, than how he actually is.
I also think as we delve further into the series, I kind of have a theory that like Rusty, Firepaw, Fireheart, Firestar, he's a bad judge of character. Like at first, like on first glance, like I feel like he misjudges a lot of people like at first.
I'm gonna tell Yellowfang you said that when we get to it. He trusts Yellowfang right away, and no one else does. That's kind of a big one.
The only reason he trusts her is because she couldn't actually do anything. Like I just actually I think just listened to that part yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, when we get to
Um
it, we can break it down more. But he does like, I mean,
he
he
gives her the
also distrusts Longtail to begin with, and Longtail turns out to be a good dude.
Yeah, and, like, he trusts or he wants to impress, Tiger Claw.
I mean, he's literally never met any of these cats though, so I'd want to impress the biggest, toughest looking dude there that just like avenged the deputy's death and blah blah. Like he just comes off as like a very I want to be on his side kind of cat.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Yeah.
sure we will revisit this quite a few times because it will come up again in Fire and Ice, which is, where I'm currently at.
Yep. I do love the entire journey where these like big cats are just running and making this poor thing chase after them, like scrambling over trees and like going through little like rivers and stuff, trying to keep up. Like it's kind of sad. And I they do have a new phrase since we're trying to keep track of all of them. A two-leg tree eater. I'm assuming is just a thing like a bulldozer of some sort. Or
I'm
like a
thinking,
shredder thing that you put the tree in and it shreds it.
yeah, wood chipper.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's probably like, so here's I think it literally is a wood chipper, and the reason I say that is because later on in the series, there is something that they call a tree monster. I have no idea
Yeah.
where in
It's
this
just they're
book
talking about
it
the
is.
deep gullies churned up by a two-leg tree eater. So I'm like, is that where the tree was ripped up and we're seeing the roots, or are we seeing the tracks and they're calling those the gullies?
It could also be, a stump grinder,
Yeah,
because
it's
that
some
would
sort of
eat.
thing. I was like, because they don't start doing like construction on the forest until the next series, so it's not like they're currently breaking it down.
Yeah.
And like, there's literally on the map in Two Leg Place the tree cutter place,
I think
tree
they
cut place.
also,
Yeah,
like, yeah, there's also something about, like, it's an actual, like, work site that's only active during certain seasons. That's also addressed, a little later on when they're on the, tour of the territory.
yeah.
Um,
Do you have anything before they get to the camp?
I I do, it kind of goes, like, into the camp. It gets us into the camp. But I find it hilarious how, both Rusty and Lionheart thought the other one was never gonna show up.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, seriously, like, you see, like, Rusty, like, "Oh, I wonder if he's gonna be here today. He's probably not gonna show, blah, blah, blah." And, like, they get into the camp, and you hear White Storm like, "Yeah, Lionheart didn't think he was gonna show."
And Blue Star's
Like,
like actually
"Oh."
annoyed by it too. It's kind of funny that like there's literally, I mean, at this point there's not many cats. They have like maybe 12 or something, but he doesn't think to scent for them. He's just looking around like, "Oh, where are the cats?" When they're like, "Dude, use your nose. Like, come on, just sniff for Pete's sake," cuz he never does it. And then when they get into the camp, another term that they're using that people need to be familiar with is sharing tongues, which is grooming each other. They just, it sounds gross, yeah, let me share my tongue with you, but they groom each other, and that's what it's called.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, to touch back on that, like, the "I can smell cats," I busted out laughing,
Shocking.
and the very next line was, like, Lionheart and White Storm seemed amused.
It'd be like if we went to, I don't know, Pizza Hut, and you walked in, they're like, I can smell
I can smell
pepperoni.
pizza.
Really? Oh,
Reminds me of that Dane Cook joke, B&E or whatever. It's like, "Dane,
bacon
I
and
hear a
eggs.
car."
Yep.
"You hear a
Breaking and
car, let
entering.
me know if you're a whale."
Oh gosh, I used to love him. They
Um,
do the tour of the camp, which at some point I kind of want to like try to draw it out or something, because
I
I've
was gonna
never easily been able to picture this camp for some reason.
yeah,
I know it's like a
I
dig
have a
dip, but
I have a picture in my mind, and I'm pretty sure it's inaccurate.
me too.
We should compare
We'll
compare
each
notes.
draw our own, but like, okay, this is how I pictured it, and they're both going to be wrong compared to the official one.
Um, the other thing I wanted to touch on, because I'm pretty sure it's up towards the top of when they get into camp and stuff like that, was as he's kind of getting the tour of the camp. the first law of the warrior code, which is all cats serve the clan.
Yes.
It's going to be very important to remember.
At some point, we should do a video about all of the warrior code.
I wanted to do that, and then I wanted to do a video on the lives that each leader receives, and then I wanted to do correlations between the warrior code and the lives that they receive.
Yeah, because the code, there's a few things in there you think are just like common sense, but they actually are part of the code. Like I have the code of the clans. I just haven't read it in a while to remember all of it. But it was kind of interesting the first time I read it. And then
Yeah.
we did talk about before that like the camp is surrounded by ferns and gorse bushes, which I'll put a picture up so everyone knows what they are. But it's a very thick tangle of like spiny looking plant that has yellow flowers, but it is so thick. There's no way cats are easily going to be able to get through there, which is why they're surrounding the camp with it. They even say when he
Yeah.
goes in there, like it's scraping his pelt kind of thing because it's so thick.
Yeah, that'll come up multiple times in the series. One of the things I did want to point out, in terms of like just like a grammatical thing that I noticed through on like this read through, and it wasn't until I actually sat down and looked at the actual text, because I didn't pick it up listening to it, but they say the high rock. It's not she stood up on high rock, it's the high rock, which I thought was very interesting because it's referring to like one specific thing
Well, yeah, I
versus
think
like
it's because they call it. It's not like it's a high rock. It is like it's literally like a
yeah.
destination kind of thing.
Yeah, it was just I thought that that was, like, a very interesting, like, it's like, you don't say, like, the Mount Rushmore or, what, the Mount Denali or something like that, you just say, like, Mount Denali or whatever, but, like, no, the high rock because it is the highest rock, like, there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of like saying like I'm going to go to the kitchen. I'm not going to kitchen. I'm going to the kitchen kind of thing. So
Are
maybe
you
it's
sure?
something like that. But
Maybe.
uh, yeah,
That's
it's a
another way
weird
to
kind
look
of
at it, yeah.
grammatical thing. I'm not going
But that
to
also,
bathroom. I'm
like
going to the bathroom.
yeah, but, like, there could be, like, multiples of that you know what I mean? Like,
What's like
normally, like 'cause it's in the next book, but there is also I think they describe Wind Clan's camp as having a high rock as
oh,
well.
yeah, probably. Because like it's the
So,
same. I'm not gonna say I'm going to the Shadow Clan territory. I'm going to
yeah,
Shadow
I'm
Clan
going to Shadow
territory.
Clan
So like
territory.
it's like a difference between I don't know, like destination versus I don't know. Like it is. It makes sense saying it, but I don't know exactly the
It
difference between the
does.
two. But I know what I would say for the word, kind of thing.
Yeah, I always so, like, for me, I always assumed that they just said, like, high rock, like, for whatever reason, like, totally missed my brain.
Yeah, because whenever they
So
do
the
the warrior ceremony or whatever, they're like, let all cats old enough to gather beneath. It's not gather beneath High Rock, I don't think. I think it's gather beneath the High Rock, right? Let me double check. It comes up in a second. Let all those old enough to catch their own prey gather here beneath the High Rock. Yeah, and it's even capitalized. High Rock is a capital thing.
yeah,
So, yeah. Before we get to that, though, the first cat he specifically notices in the camp is Golden Flower. I had to look it up, but they say is a what's the description? A ginger she cat who's coming out of the nursery. She's the only ginger one, so that's got to be Golden Flower. And then after that, there's a tabby queen with distinctive black markings. It's hard to say because that could either be Speckletail or what is her name? The other queen at the moment. Uh, or Brindleface. They're both tabbies. Brindleface is apparently a gray tabby, which I messed up on my video. I made her a brown tabby because I was assumed she was. I picture her as a brown tabby, but it's hard to say which
okay.
one it could be. It could be either because they're both tabbies. I assumed it was Speckletail,
I
which would
would
also be weird
too.
because Goldenflower is Speckletail's daughter, so that means they're both in the nursery at having kids at the same time. But I mean, this is before like they actually had it the genealogy planned out.
I
Just
feel like, I
yeah,
mean, it's could have been like an older queen. It's not super weird. They're cats.
yeah. I mean, she does retire in like what 4 books.
Yeah, pretty shortly. So, um, let's see. Was there anything else before we get to the announcement?
Um, the only like they Rusty notices Grey Paw sitting there as they're all gathering, and then behind him is a young tortoiseshell queen with black tipped tail. I'm assuming spotted leaf, because they specifically call her pretty, right? The fact that they called her out almost makes it seem like it has to be spotted leaf.
I thought that, and I could be wrong, but I thought that they said later on in the book that Spotted Leaf was seated directly beside Graypaw.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Not
Grey Paw's
behind,
there,
beside.
and then beside him, not
Oh.
behind, beside him sat a young tortoiseshell queen.
Yeah, yeah,
But
so that
behind
would be
them, because there's them two side by side, so that's spotted leaf. Behind them is a dark gray tabby with black stripes, which is dark stripe.
Dark Stripe.
Yep. So we have all of them there, just a few of them that are pointed out. And then, do you have anything about the actual ceremony before the longtail battle? Well, yeah,
um,
it is Longtail who's, mocking him this entire time.
I guess one thing that could be pointed out for any new readers is the fact that as far as I'm aware, clan meetings can be called at any time,
Yeah.
whereas the actual like gathering of the clans is once a month, on a specific day at a specific time in a specific place.
Yeah,
And it's
literally
also
at
coming up.
any time. And then, Longtail has literally a lot of good points. Like, how would Rusty has a collar with a bell on it? How's he gonna go hunting? How's he gonna sneak up on someone in battle? How's he going and the jingling bell is going to attract humans, kind of thing, towards him? Like, it's all really good points that his collar is pretty much saying that he should not be part of the clan because of the collar. Which I mean, he does lose very shortly, but like it's almost like StarClan was listening and they're like, you know what, Longtail, you're right. We're gonna fix this. Like they broke his collar, and then they he calls him Stinky, calling him his 2 leg stench.
I also find it
Yeah.
like one of the things I found kind of odd about that, because I know that they existed like back when this was written. But I'm assuming that it wasn't a breakaway collar, which is what people
Yes.
should be putting on their cats.
I wondered this several times. I'm like, did he just pull it so tight that it snapped, kind of thing?
Like that's how it's basically described.
Because like
Because
it literally is strangling him. Yeah.
if it was a breakaway collar, it should have immediately released.
Because
Like,
Longtail is pulling hard to break those things.
yeah. I'm also like guessing it probably frayed around like cat collars. I feel are just not very well done to begin with in most cases.
Yeah, I remember Vinny's collar looked like he just had a red bush around his neck because it was so frayed all the time.
He did.
Yeah.
Like black cat, red collar.
It does say Longtail is sitting behind a dusky brown queen. I believe that's Mousefur. She's always described as dusky brown, so that's my guess.
Okay.
And then, yeah, like, Rusty literally attacks this older cat, which I find great because like his last battle, he wanted to keep fighting. Like Graypaw was just like, yeah, okay, I'm done, whatever. But like he was ready to keep fighting, and then this one he initiates it, and like it even says like they did do the the ritual of swiping and boxing, they're just rolling around screeching in like a tangle of like fur and claws. Like he was determined to prove himself. And then yeah, he
Well, I
starts to
mean,
feel like the pressure on his throat of Longtail pulling on his collar, and he pulls until it snaps.
you have Lionheart egging him on the whole time too. Like, are you gonna back down from a challenge? Like,
Yeah.
they can all smell that you're afraid. Like, you need to prove yourself. Okay.
He does. Good for him. Like, really, no one except for those three starts to doubt him after that point. And it's like, okay, he did good.
hmm
It is a pretty fast battle, and then he's just standing there all like, yes, look at me, I did it, I'm great, as he's just like flexing and stuff in front of everyone. And as Blue starts looking at him because he's standing in the sunlight, which is making his fur glow because he's a very bright orange cat, she says, "You look like a brand of fire in the sunlight," she murmured. Her eyes flashed briefly, as if her words had more meaning to her than Rusty knew. And that's why she names him Firepaw, because again, at that moment, she's thinking of the prophecy.
I like the fact I think it was in our chapter 1 deep dive, but you had pointed out like you went back and looked it up because there's not like a like specific nod, but I do like all of the like subtle nods throughout the series that like she did think of him
Yeah.
and the prophecy together. And then they just like reconfirm it in Blue Star's prophecy. Like I do like these like subtle
I need
nods.
to buy a new copy of Blue Star's Prophecy because it's come up like every video we make, and I can't find my copy of it. I've torn my room apart looking for that thing. It's driving me crazy.
There's a ton on eBay right now for like $3.
Huh, well, yeah.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
And then, because they can't go a single chapter without making dirt being referenced, he buries his collar by kicking stuff like dirt over it
It's
as if he were
so
making dirt. As it's a very important thing.
it
Rusty
is.
not being neutered and Rusty making dirt is vital. The first, what are we on, chapter 3? 3 chapters plus prologue.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. So I will say, when I first read this back in what, 5th grade, something ridiculous, because it had never been done in a book I read before, I hated his name change. Because I was like, I know him as Rusty. And then all of a sudden, Firepaw, like, what? No, no, he's Rusty. And I kept trying to keep it in my head of him being Rusty. And I know I did the same thing when he becomes Fireheart. I was so used to him being Firepaw that I hated the change. And I just wanted him to stick with how he was. But, like, I remember it bugged me. And I also used to think that as they prove themselves, cats get different, like, last parts of their name. Like, he'd be Firetail, then Firefur, then Fire Nose. Like he would just keep changing, and I didn't think they actually stayed with that name. So I'm very happy they didn't do that. But I remember like being very confused by the whole process when it first started.
I mean, it never bothered me, but
I didn't like it,
I
but I was
can
also, like I said,
see
5th grade. This was like the first book I'd really read that was that kind of style, and I just didn't like that they changed it.
I can see. Yeah. Feel like for the most part I was still struggling with like actually enjoying the whole reading uh journey at that point. So
Yeah,
and I was into I was probably a little further into a different series when I first got introduced to Warriors by You. So
true. The nick that he leaves in Longtail's ear stays there. It's a scar that they mention a few times throughout the series. That he has a scar on his ear because of
yeah,
Rusty. So, or Firepaw now. Sorry, he's Firepaw. But so that was kind of cool. And then apparently Longtail only became a warrior 2 moons ago. So he's very young. But part of my big timeline thing has problems with that being a thing. I'll point it out to you at the end of this when we go over it. But
okay.
between family tree and everything, it is a problem. Yeah, and then everyone's calling, welcome Firepaw, blah blah blah, all that, and then when he asks where he's going, Greypaw's like, yeah, he's going to see Spotted leave our medicine cat. Not bad looking either. Like, why say that? It's kind of weird. I don't know. It kind of bugs me. Younger and a lot
Well,
prettier than most.
I was gonna say, like, she is actually younger than most, or I feel like is there actual well, we'll get to it when we get to it. Um,
I also find it weird that
some of the
Longtail
other
even
pets.
went to see her. Like, imagine, like, okay, I have to go see a medicine cat because I just fought a kitty pet. Like, it doesn't seem like Longtail would want to go to seek treatment. He just, like, it's nothing. Like, I'm totally fine.
I think it's more like the whole, like, you spoiled his good looks. Maybe he's trying to see if, like, it is that
He's
bad.
gotta keep his cool hairstyle and everything.
Yeah,
And,
totally.
like, Dark Stripe comes up, who, uh, is defending Longtail because Longtail is his apprentice, and he's just, I can't believe he'd lose to a kitty pet, which is surprising as part of the issue I'm having with the timeline, but Darkstripe mentored Longtail. He's now mentoring Dustpaw. We'll get to that later, but that is important. And then I find this funny that when he's leaving, he's like, now Darkstripe is neither young nor pretty. Darkstripe is a silver tabby cat. Graystripe doesn't think that silver tabby cats are pretty.
He might mean that he's a little older and a little more
I'm
mangled
just
from that
saying,
all.
later on, him and Silverstream are a thing, and she's a silver tabby. As soon as I saw that, I was like, wait, hold up, something's off here. I mean, I guess I get it, but you would think then that, I don't know, it's just kind of funny when you realize that he ends up falling in love with the silver tabby in the next book.
Or the fact that, like, he isn't too far off from being a silver tabby himself.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a tabby. Well, he's a gray boy with, like, one
He's
stripe,
close enough.
but, yeah. Uh,
Like I said, not too far off.
yeah. Before Ravenpaw gets there, do you have any notes?
Um, no.
Okay, because I think it's hilarious that the first one to sense trouble is Small Ear. He's an elder. He is a going deaf elder, and he's the first to sense trouble.
But that
Like,
was
what's wrong with all
like,
these warriors?
do they have the elders sit like guard,
No,
so to speak?
they're just
Not like
they're out there
guard,
because of
but
the
like
meeting, but just no one else sensed trouble. Small Ear did.
smaller smells trouble.
Well, yeah,
Maybe because, small ears are small.
so small that
Like,
his nose is like powerful. He can smell things across the forest now. Like when a cat
what
goes
is
blind.
his what is his description? Is he like a rag doll or something?
I think he's like old gray Tom or something.
So there's
Gray
not
Tom
like
with very small ears. The oldest Tom in ThunderClan. The oldest, not cat, I think One Eye's older, but the oldest man in this clan is the first to sense trouble. They should not have let him retire. They still need him, is what I'm saying. He is vital.
well, he smells it. Um, right? Yeah,
Yes,
small
he
ears smells
smells trouble.
trouble.
Okay,
But
well,
that's
he's
the
got a
thing.
good
It's like
nose. The nose knows.
he's got a keen little nose because he had to make up for his other, like,
For
his
his
like
tiny
not
ears.
non-ability to heal here.
I do love that
It's actually
all the
not.
elders in this one all seem to have problems. It's like One Eye who's missing an eye, Small Ear who has really tiny ears, Half Tail missing half his tail. Like all like, three of the five all have like problems.
Yeah, but like One Eye is the one who isn't it One Eye who can't hear? Who is it who
She's
can't
deaf
hear
now too.
well?
She's blind and or no, she says it's my vision that's going, not my hearing or something like that. So yeah, but I mean she's always only had one eye. She was White Eye, and then she lost it, so then she became One Eye, which is also really messed up to think about. That like she would have been fine as One Eye, and they're just like, nah, you know what, you lost an eye, we gotta rename you. Same with Half Tail. He was like Sparrow Pelt or something like that before, and then he lost half his tail, and there's nope. This is what defined you, only having half a tail. It's upsetting.
I mean, we'll definitely get to that when we get to
It's Blue Star's
Bright Paw
prophecy and
and
all that. Yeah, Bright Paw's renaming. That's how Firestar fixes her name because of their namings. They know the ceremony to change the name. But, yeah, and then they describe him wrong here. Ravenpaw is, very skinny, all black except for the white tip of his long thin tail. It has been pretty much everywhere else besides this one description says he does have a splash of white on his chest. So this is
okay, I was
wrong.
wondering
Yeah.
about that.
It is official description in his picture, everything. He does have white on his chest. It's just here he doesn't have it. Da, 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 da. Let's see. Yeah, so Greypaw describes who Ravenpaw and his mentor Tiger Claw are. Then they said that they went with Redtail at sunrise on a mission against River Clan. So again, they sent 3 cats, one of which being an apprentice, to take on an entire River Clan patrol. That is kind of insane. But also that the fact that they went at sunrise, it's like, did this happen when Rusty was waking up this morning? That's like when they went to go on this mission? Just food for thought, but it's kind of interesting. Because he slept in, so maybe he was sleeping during this time.
Maybe.
And then the big part of it, Firepaw's first introduction to the harshest part of living in the wild. Redtail is dead. He's been here less than 5 minutes, and a clan cat's dead.
I think okay, so uh, like this entire part, I understand the need for the talking. Like, who's this? Who's that? Blah blah blah. And it's just like, oh, like just be quiet.
Yeah, it's like you could tell something's up. This cat just barged into the camp, bleeding all over the place, and is terrified. He's just like, "Hey, who's that? Who'd he go with?
It just
Where'd they
yeah, that's
go?" Like, it's just, shut up, listen.
reminds me like this whole part reminded me of like that one person at the movie theater in front of you who just won't shut up and you're just like I'm about ready to like dump my popcorn bucket on you.
Or
Like
it's like
just be quiet.
if I were like showing you like my favorite movie, and you're just like, "Wait, did this happen because of that? Wait, who's that? Why are they doing this?" I'm like, just watch the movie, you'll figure it out. Stop. But yeah, I
Or
mean,
like
they need to explain it all, but at the same time, I mean,
but like yeah, like that's Ravenpaw. Why is he alone? Where's Tiger? Like we don't need the narration. Like we will figure it out. I
like
understand why
I
it's
get
in there. I'm
I
just
get
like
Graypaw saying it because like I would be wondering the same thing. Like, hold on, he went to a battle. Why is he back by himself? Like you'd be thinking, what happened? But Firepaw is just like interrupting him with the, "Who's that? Who's Tiger Claw? Who's Redtail? What's River Clay?" Like it just, I don't. Firepaw bugs me more in this than Graypaw does.
it's again like that repeat of that first book syndrome and we're seeing like that more repetitive like leading you to the next part of the book which again I get but it was just one of those moments where it's like oh like I just want to get through this especially since like I really enjoy listening to the fan dub audio readings and
With Karen Star. You said she
no.
sounds Blue Star sounds like a Karen, so
No, I'm doing the what oh man. Is it Warrior? Hold on. I'm on YouTube Studio on my other. That was not correct. I don't think you could see your history in Studio. Da, da, da. Go on history. So no, I was listening to I want to say it's Warrior Cats Fanda, but I could be wrong. No, I'm right. It's Warrior Cats Fanda. I've been listening to them and they have like one reader like per voice or whatever. I think I sent you one the
yeah.
other day because I said that White Storm sounds like I feel like he sounds like the voice actor from World of Warcraft for the leader of the Blood Elves.
Lothar,
Lothar, yeah,
something like that.
Lothar Throne or whatever.
Yeah,
Throne.
something.
Yeah. Anyways, like sounds like almost like uncannily the same, or he sounds like one of the like male guards in Silvermoon. Anyways, just like tripping me up. Like every time I heard him speak, I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's a
Anyways.
really good introduction to clan life. I do like that. You get to meet all the cats. You get to experience like actual like stakes kind of thing. Like, holy cow, someone's already dead. But they're all like, I don't know. It's like a community, and which I think is why it's described so differently from his point of view because he's not part of that community yet. So he's not seeing it properly, which is why it seems so hectic and chaotic because he's not them yet. In my personal opinion.
I don't feel like there's much of a change. At least not yet, not as far as I am.
You're also on series 1. By series
Hmm.
3, things pick up a bit. Cuz so I complain about how I don't like all of the explanations and stuff in this, but at the same time, I'm currently reading I don't remember what it's called, the 5th, 6th series, the one right after Firestar died. Something about like shattered skies and shadows or whatever it's called. I'm currently reading that one, and there's so many cats in there that I have no idea who they are or how they're related that I'm constantly having to stop to Google things to figure out who this cat is. So I feel like they've done the extreme where they expect you to know all this stuff by then. So if you take a break from the series, you're not going to know what in the world is happening. Like I said, I had to look up pretty much every cat who's part of that series because I know none of them. Even though like I kept up with the series for years. So it is kind of they go from taking it very slow in this one to later on it's going to be a drastically faster. I keep wanting
I
to
mean,
call the series What We Do in the Shadows, and that's that funny vampire show on Netflix or something, and that's not it. But I just want you to know that's what I keep thinking of. It's like a vampire parody, but yeah. In case you haven't seen
I
it, it's hilarious. Please watch.
I don't have Netflix.
We'll fix that one day. I
How
do
are you?
have. Let's see, one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Get to meet the clan breakdowns where I have 7 cats we have to talk about. Are you
Okay,
ready?
I'm terrified.
So number 1, we have White Storm. He's the first one mentioned in this that we haven't gone over yet. His mom is Snowfur, who is Blue Star's sister. So White Storm is Blue Star's nephew. His father is Thistleclaw, who trained Tigerclaw, and that was that ambitious cat that Blue Star gave up her kit so that she would become deputy instead of Thistleclaw. So this kind of shows parents don't mean everything because Whitestorm's nothing like his father. He's like his mom and his aunt. He's like kind of thing. He's nothing like Thistleclaw. I do appreciate that. Um,
He's currently my favorite cat in the series.
I like Whitestorm. He's a cool dude. He has 2 mates. So with Brindleface, he has Ferncloud, Ashfur, Tulip Kit, and Elder Kit, which aren't official names. It's kind of like fan dub names for when a kit is mentioned, but they're not given a name and then they just disappear or die or something. So they've been named by fans of Tulip Kit and Elder Kit. Then with Frostfur, he has Swirltail, Sootfur, and Rainwhisker. So he has 2 different mates. His mentor was Patchpelt. Uh huh. And his apprentices have been Sandstorm and Brightheart. So I'm not sure exactly how this works because I don't know the past stories and all that. But he has Wind Clan blood through a cat named Windflight. Not really sure who that is. We'll have to do research. He is one of the few litters that is only a single kid. He didn't have any siblings. Like it's all like they had a sibling and they died. He is just it's just him. Um, and it was actually a fan's idea that Thistleclaw would be his father, and the authors liked it, so they went with it. But yeah, a fan came up with the idea.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool.
Uh, that is, huh. Windflight. I've made a note to look
Look
up.
up whoever Windflight is.
Yeah, and try and trace. Um, I'm getting closer to getting the books, Jess.
Yeah. You'll notice as I go through these, Patchpelt's going to be mentioned quite a few times. Patchpelt made his way around. Same with
So he
someone
was
named
the mentor.
Robin Wing. Mentor, yes, but as you'll see when I get to my complicated timeline. Okay, then we have Goldenflower. She's not by name, but we do know that's who she is, so I decided to include her in this. Same with Speckletail. But Goldenflower is the daughter of Speckletail and Small Ear. You know, the would do with great hearing or great nose. Her sister is Mistlekit, which is another fan named one, who died of green cough. Then her brother is Lionheart and Snowkit. If you don't know how we feel about Snowkit, please go watch our top 10 saddest or most tragic deaths in this the series, because oh my gosh, Snowkit. But yes, Snowkit. Then her mate, she's had two mates. Her first was Patchpelt, in which case she had Swiftpaw. Then she was mate to Tiger Claw, in which case she had Bramble, Claw, and Tawny Pelt. Good so far.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they say there was another kit at the same time as Patchpelt that fans have dubbed Lynx Kit, who is a ginger tabby with black patches. Apparently, the kit is mentioned in the book, but that's it. So we're gonna see if we can find the mention of Lynx Kit kind of thing. It's not named Lynx Kit, again, it's fan named, but it's described as a ginger kit with black patches. Somehow died, and her mentor was Dappletail. So that's Goldenflower. Any notes?
No,
Okay. Then we have Speckletail, who is the daughter of Hairpounce and Stagleap. Her sister
I'm
is
sorry.
One
What?
Eye. Hairpounce, like a hare, like a rabbit,
Yeah.
and Stagleap, like, you know, Harry's Patronus. It's a
Yeah.
stag. Yeah. Yep. Her sister is One Eye. Her mate is Small Ear. And her kits are Goldenflower, Mistlekit, the one who died, Lionheart, and Snowkit. Meaning Goldenflower is really the only one that lives for a decent amount of time. Lionheart dies in this one, Snowkit died as a kit. Sad. And she's never had an apprentice. Okay. Then
Sad.
I've technically done a breakdown of Spotted Leaf, but I checked and I didn't say her family tree, so I'm just doing her family tree. I'm not doing the fun facts about her. Spotted Leaf is the
Okay.
daughter of Swift Breeze and Adderfang. Her sisters are Willow Pelt and Leopardfoot. Leopardfoot is Tiger Star's mom. And her brothers are Redtail and Patchpelt. She was also first trained by Thrushpelt to become a warrior, but then switched over to train under Featherwhisker as a medicine cat. Okay, then we
Sounds good.
have Darkstripe.
Can't stand him.
Yeah. We know his mom is Willowpelt, but we do not know who his father is. Maybe we'll do a theory video about that to try to figure it out. Then we have
Whoever the biggest bully was.
Thistleclaw.
Oh, there you go.
Then we have his half sister is Sorrel Kit, whatever she went by, which means he almost killed his half sister, and his half brothers are Greystripe, Sootfur, and Rainwhisker. Uh, which is also sad because Greystripe kills him. He almost kills his half sister, and then his half brother kills him. It's kind of messed up. His mentor was Tiger Stripe. or Tiger Claw, what in the word, Tiger Stripe, Tiger Claw, and his apprentices have been Longtail, Dustpaw, and Fern Cloud. He's also another single kit. Also, Ch.3 has said that it was her favorite death to write in the entire series. Like, I agree. He deserved it. And then people have speculated that Tawny Spots may have been his father, who was the deputy that retired, which is why Blue Star had to become deputy. But Willow Pelt was still an apprentice when he retired, so I'm hoping he is not the father. Because then that just. It's worse than the Dust Pelt Fern Cloud problem.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have Longtail. Only two more, Longtail and Ravenpaw. So Longtail's mom is Robinwing, and his dad is Patchpelt. His half brother or his half sisters are Brindleface and Frostfur. His half brothers are Ravenpaw, Dustpaw, and Swiftpaw. His mentor is Darkstripe, and his apprentices have been Swiftpaw, Ferncloud, and Sootfur. So this is another one that Patchpelt has fathered. Then we have
Getting around.
apparently his tail has been described as elegantly long, not freakishly long. That has to be like a very important thing. I guess he knew his warrior name was going to be Longtail. It has been said that he did not have feelings for Mousefur, and vice versa. They were just friends. And then, okay, this is a big thing that I've noticed happens a lot in the series. So when Kate writes, she imagines tabbies as brown. So if she just says a tabby queen, such as Brindleface, she is picturing it as a brown tabby cat. Whereas when Ch.3 writes, she imagines them as silver, which is why a lot of these cats go back and forth between being a silver tabby or a brown tabby. It depends on which author is writing, because they picture a tabby in different ways. I personally picture it as a brown tabby, so I made Brindleface brown when I did the video, because all it says is a pretty tabby cat or something like that. But later on, she's described specifically as silver with darker flecks, just like Ferncloud.
Because of Bailey, I picture them as gray.
So we had the same problem. I always picture a tabby cat as a brown cat. Like, I'd be like, a silver tabby. I'm not gonna say a brown tabby, but I'll say a silver tabby kind of thing.
Well, then, like, I thought of the name, like, Brindle, and, like, must be brown.
Yeah, exactly. She, like, I don't know. I just literally until today, my entire life, I've pictured her as a brown tabby. But when I looked up her official description, it says she's a gray tabby, which is why I was like, maybe that wasn't her, that
Maybe?
the tabby, but not totally sure. And then finally, we have Ravenpaw, who is the son of Robinwing and Fuzzy Pelt.
Fuzzy Pelt?
Fuzzy Pelt.
Fuzzy
F
Pelt.
U
Was
Z
he
Z
fan
Y.
name?
No, he's in Blue Star's Prophecy.
What?
Yep, Fuzzy Pelt.
No.
His sisters are Brindleface and Frostfur, his brother is Dustpelt, his half-brother is Longtail, and his mentor was Tigerclaw. So he's another one that is a Patchpelt and or Robinwing kid, because they have a lot of kids. So it has been confirmed that Ravenpaw and Barley were mates, but because of the day and age when the book came out, they couldn't say that. So they described them as being good friends. But so everyone knows there are two Toms and they are mates. That's just how it is. I don't want to hear any if, ands, or buts about it. The author said so. They also said if he got his warrior name, it would have been Ravenwing.
Oh.
Yeah. And then even though when he died, he didn't want to join StarClan because he wanted to go to wherever Barley was going, kind of thing. He does give Bramblestar a life, so I guess he can walk with StarClan. Kind of a weird thing,
Maybe,
but
maybe StarClan. Ooh, we could do, like, a whole, like, deep dive on StarClan itself, because there's a whole story about, like, the formation and everything else.
I
But
almost think it's like
I still really
Feathertail,
think, like,
because Feathertail can walk with the tribe of Rushing Water and StarClan. So I think maybe he should just go with Loner Heaven and
Yeah.
them. But
Maybe
yeah,
it's just like
like a
different,
breakdown of all the Star Clan stuff.
like it's still like a like forest, so to speak, but they all have their own unique, like Star Clan is like all of the warrior cats that came before versus like loners are loners and rogues are rogues. And
Maybe Star Clan is like the exact same as like how it is normally, but for like dead
yeah.
cats. So like they can wander out of their territory, and that's where the rogues are, because they can literally walk from Star Clan to the Dark Forest, kind of thing, and that's like cat hell. Because Spotted Leaf's done it, kind of thing. Like they walk there, and they're just like, yeah, don't cross this barrier. Like they Star Clan, I think, could go in there, but Dark Forest can't leave it. So yeah, it's probably just outside their border is where Kitty Pet Heaven and Loner Heaven are.
Yeah.
Which
We'll have
means
to.
we'll have to deep dive into this too. Would Scourge go to the Dark Forest or to Rogue Afterlife? Because you'd almost think Dark Forest is for cats who believe in StarClan but are not worthy of StarClan.
He
Which the
might
big thing about Scourge
just.
was he didn't believe in StarClan.
Yeah, but he just might not be worthy of
Any
like
afterlife?
a good afterlife. Like I would assume he would have gone to the dark forest.
I just always assumed that like that's for cats who believed in StarClan but couldn't get into it. So I almost feel like Scourge is in a different thing, but I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. Because in
Maybe
case
he's
you
in like
didn't know,
perma
it has been
hell.
confirmed cats, as warriors at least, who die are reincarnated. So these cats who are dying here most likely have all been reincarnated into current warriors. There's so many theories about there about okay, who did Lionheart turn into? Who did Spotted Leaf turn into? Like it's over and over. Like it's a big thing of people trying to figure out which cat is reincarnated into who.
Then why does Star Clan exist?
It's once they um how do they describe it? Once they fade from memory per se, kind of like Coco. Have you seen Coco?
No, but I kind of know the premise
So
behind it.
it's you die, but as long as people remember you, you stay in heaven, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. In this big city per se. But then once nobody remembers you, you have the final death and you fade away. But in this one, once they have the final death either being forgotten or killed again as a StarClan cat, they're reincarnated. So, like, for example, Spotted Leaf, who dies and then later on is actually killed again as a StarClan cat, has been reincarnated. We just don't know who as.
Hmm.
So it's a big thing to think about because they all do come back at some point. So later on, when we get into that, we'll have to figure out like, do you think this could be blah blah blah? So one of the most crazy ones out there that I have seen, people are wondering if Scourge was reincarnated as Squirrel Flight. I'm just gonna let that burn in your mind, but eventually we're gonna go into that. The big thing people have going is they're literally the only two cats ever who are described as having a single white paw. And for some reason, both of them, when their Funko Pop or whatever it is was released, they were released as a bundle. Scourge and Squirrel Flight, which have they're born series apart kind of thing. So it was weird. But it's just something to think about. It's a cool fan theory, so maybe we'll do like a theory video on that one day.
Unless I've completely missed something in the series, they're also nothing alike.
But is this how Scourge would have been if he was raised in a clan with loving parents, kind of thing? She breaks the warrior code
So
constantly.
so basically someone like Tiger Star could come
I don't
back
think so because I
and
don't think if you die
find
in
redemption.
the I think if you die in the Dark Forest, you are not reincarnated, which is why I also don't think Scourge went there. Like I said, this is several books away from us discussing, but We'll see. It was just a really cool theory.
We'll
Also,
just
the
look
fact
over it.
that Scourge is related to Firestar. They're brothers. So there's
Yeah.
also a bloodline relation of why he would come back somewhere related to his half brother. But I don't know. It was a really cool thing, which would make it even more messed up when you think about it. If that was reincarnation of Scourge, who mates with Tiger Star's son because he killed Tiger Star. I don't know. It's insane. Where were we? We were talking about Ravenpaw.
We were.
So I do
We've since
have,
gotten
but
off that.
before I went off on that rant, this is actually one of the coolest facts I've ever learned. So this is Ravenpaw's final line. I want to see if you can guess what its or final words before he dies. I want to see if you can guess what it's a reference to. But there's a secret I have kept from you without meaning to. I have always been a warrior. He says this to Barley as he's dying. He's like, yeah, I had a secret. I've always been a warrior.
Like at heart?
Yeah, like at heart, like he's always felt he was a warrior kind of thing. But this line, when the authors wrote it, was based on a famous line from another form of media.
From another
From a
form of
from a
media.
movie. A pretty famous movie quote. But yeah, but there's a secret I have kept from you without meaning to. I have always been a warrior. No guesses?
I I couldn't even guess the genre of movie.
So here's the quote. That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
Oh,
It's from Avengers. He's like, yeah, I've always been a warrior, and they based it on that. That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry. Like that's
that's
cool. I like that.
hilarious.
Yeah, clearly, Ravenpaw is Hulk. I should have known.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Might explain. I'm excited to get to Fire and Ice next. Like
it's
there's
a so much better book than this one.
I
Forest
have
of
so
Secrets
many
is really good too, and
questions.
then Rising like they get so much better each book as it goes until like they get to Jay Feather's weird obsession with his stick. Then it like drops drastically, but up until that point, it's pretty good. And then the
I
super
mean,
editions, the short
I heard the
stories.
super editions are amazing.
Yes, well, depending on which one. I'm not happy about when we have to I have to, sit here and talk all day about One Whisker and defend his actions and all that. Can't
Okay,
stand
well,
him.
he wasn't always bad.
According to you. Okay, no, he
Literally
wasn't.
to the
He
point
was
where
not.
like
He
they
gets
introduced
bad,
him.
I think, around Sunset, if I remember correctly. I haven't got that far in my reread, but it's a little bit after he becomes leader, then he just goes downhill rapidly. But,
Yeah,
this
but
is
he didn't
where
start off that way.
before I get into my crazy speculations and timeline and genealogy, do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't. I don't. The majority of what I have to add, for whatever reason, I have notes on the next section, on the next chapter too, and most of my notes are in that
Perfect.
section.
I haven't got to that yet. I do these one chapter at a time. Alright, so before I get into this, there's a few facts you need to know, and you might need to take notes on this, okay? It's important. So, for one thing, cats are pregnant about 65 days, which is about 2 months ish. To make it simple, we'll say 2 months, okay?
Okay.
A nursing queen, or nursing does not affect a cat's ability to get pregnant. So you know how like a lot of animals, if they're still producing milk, they can't get pregnant again. Cats, it doesn't matter. They could have just had a litter, and immediately, about 2 weeks after birth, they're able to get pregnant again. So the whole thing of like, oh well, she was still nursing this kid, so she couldn't be pregnant again at this point, so she can't be a mom. It's not true. They could get pregnant 2 weeks after giving birth, and they could still be nursing. This is according to actual animal facts. So
Okay.
here's what I'm trying to figure out. We have Longtail, who has been a warrior for 2 moons. We know that.
Correct.
We also know that apparently his Sandpaw, Dustpaw, and Ravenpaw are 3 moons older than Graypaw. So they've been apprentices for 3 moons, and Graypaw yesterday, I believe, was made an apprentice. So we're gonna say Graypaw's exactly 6 moons at this point. So if also apparently the minimum training for warriors is 6 moons. So if Graypaw is, I'm not trying to make sense of my crazy notes here. If Graypaw is just now 6 moons, Sandpaw, Dustpaw, and Ravenpaw would be 9 moons. They're 3 moons older. In which case, there should be about a 1 month time when Longtail was an apprentice at the same time as them, because he would be 6, 12, 6 moons for apprentice, and 6 moons to train. Then he's been a warrior for 2 moons. So yeah, there should be a 1 moon time where they're all apprentices, which would be fine if it weren't for the fact that Darkstripe trains both Longtail and Dustpaw. So it must have been something where immediately he gave birth, or he gave birth. He Longtail became a warrior, and like that same day or like a week of within, Dustpaw became an apprentice. Which I guess also can kind of make sense. But we have
I mean,
another thing.
the con-
Sorry, what?
the concept of shared apprenticeship isn't something that's like unheard of in the
Well, yeah, but
series because
Speckletail's never had an apprentice. Why wouldn't she be given an apprentice rather than him sharing one? At this point,
maybe
because
she's just more
Graypaw
suited to be a
is
queen.
still a kit at that point, why wouldn't uh, Lionheart train him?
Don't they have a conversation in the next, like, quite literally, just to like zoom ahead because like this is something that's going to plague us throughout the series. Um, they have a conversation. Fireheart's given what, Cinderpaw to be his apprentice.
Even though
Cinderkit
she's
becomes
not
Cinderpaw.
technically 6 moons yet.
Well, yeah. 5 moons, right?
She's not exactly 6. I think she's close, but I have a part of the timeline about that too, which is baffling.
But hold on.
He,
So
yeah,
he is it him or is it Tiger Claw who asked something about, or somebody asked something about why he's given an apprentice, or like they are given apprentices because
yeah,
him and Grace
instead of
ship at
like
the
some of
same
the other.
time. Yeah, and it's like some cats just aren't really cut out for that, is the comment.
Yeah, um,
Because
yeah,
I
I
forget who
suppose
they
that makes
mentioned, but it's
sense.
like, yeah, this person's just not cut out to like like their skills are better used hunting or something
But
like
then why
that.
Lionheart's fine for it? Why wouldn't they give Dustpaw to Lionheart? Because Graypaw at this point would have been Gray Kit. He's not even apprentice yet. But like, so I don't understand why they wouldn't even give Lionheart the apprentice then. Like, why would Pelt, Dust, blah, blah, Darkstripe have 2 apprentices instead of giving Lionheart one of them? Oh wait, I just realized something. I have this wrong. Redtail is Dustpaw's mentor. Because Redtail dies, that's why Darkstripe takes Dustpaw. I had that entirely wrong.
Okay.
Okay, we're good then. Okay, I'm sure people in the comments are like, hello, it was Redtail. But no, yeah, you're right. It was Redtail who mentored Dustpaw, but like you never see them together. I totally forgot about it. So that does make sense. But the other, which also kind of makes sense about how literally I'm assuming about 6 months after this point, because they say they train for 6 months, and it's getting close to winter when they're made warriors. That makes sense about 6 months because it's summer now, so it'd be winter-ish.
Yeah.
That Swiftpaw, Cinderpaw, and Brackenpaw all become apprentices, and then Cinderpaw's hurt, and Cloudkit comes to the camp, and Sandstorm and Dustpelt are made warriors all within 1 month of each other when we get to it. But I find that crazy. I noticed it when I was doing research today, so I just wanted to let you know that all happens in 1 month. Which means Sandstorm and Dustpelt have trained for 6, 9, 10, 10 moons instead of 6.
It slammed into me like a freight train earlier, the realization, because it was something where it's like, well, it's only been 2 moons since WindClan's been chased out of their territory. I'm like, what?
Wait, they say 2 moons?
They say 2 moons, and unless somebody read it wrong, because I obviously don't have a copy of the book, but they say something about like, oh, it's only been 2 moons. And I was like, what? I
Do they say
was like,
that
you gotta be
in
kidding
Fire and
me.
Ice?
Yes.
Okay, if that's the case, that is straight up wrong, because that would mean that Fire Paw and Great Paw only trained for 2 moons, because they're the ones who bring Wind
That's
Clan
what I was
back.
saying. I was like, what?
Wait, no, but
Unless
that
I like,
also makes sense because they go to two gather. They only go to two
they only
gatherings,
go
but
to
they
two
only train for two
gatherings.
months.
I think so, because I was like sitting there, I was like, what the, like, did I really just like hear everything correctly? And I like hit the backspace on it, and I was like, oh, this makes absolutely no sense. Like, in like, for the sake of chronology and stuff like that, and like, like how things are supposed to work. I was just like, oh, this, like, my brain just broke.
Because I
I'm
need to
done for the
push
day.
all of this back by 4 months because so they were 8 moons old when they became warriors. If that is true, in which case Cinderpaw and Brackenpaw are drastically too young to be made apprentices. Same with that means Swiftpaw would be older than I thought. Oh my gosh, this is my head is going to explode. We literally need to go through this like chapter by chapter. And be like, okay, we're gonna break it down into gatherings. Like that's how we're gonna do the month. It's per gathering kind of thing, and we have to write down everything vital that happens in between those gatherings. But like even then, for example, another one that makes no sense, Gore's kit. We hear about him in Fire and Ice. He is a kit. At minimum, he was just born. He's like 2 days old or whatever. Which makes sense because I think they said that she was pregnant in the prologue. But he doesn't become an apprentice until Darkest Hour, the last book. Because that's when he dies. He becomes an apprentice, he meets Fireheart, and then he dies.
I thought it was during the most dangerous path.
No, because Tiger Star by that point kills him to show what would happen if they didn't join Tiger Clan, which is Darkest Hour. Maybe he was made
Yeah.
apprentice in Dangerous Path, but I'm pretty sure he was made one in Darkest Hour. But like, gosh, the timeline in this, I'm trying to find a way to make it make sense, and it just blatantly doesn't.
I think like it's gonna be like, I know we'll definitely get into it like once we get through the entire series doing like the whole like deep dive back through, but like there's a lot of things because like so from where I'm at, which I think is chapter 10 of Fire and Ice, like there's been 3 gatherings total in the book.
Including in
So
the.
the gathering that night, that they or the one that Sandpaw and
Yeah,
Dustpaw go
there's
to.
that one. Then there's
And
Firepaw and
then
Greypaw's first gathering.
they go to the second one.
And that's when they decide to bring WindClan home, right?
Yes, that's when they're sent to bring WindClan home.
Yeah, they've been training for 2 moons. That
Well,
is
I mean, so like one of the big things, right? Like to just touch on that, like you get White Storm at the like when Blue Star says something or says something, she's like, yes, they fought like warriors. Um,
like maybe she's pushing hit like Firepaw faster because the prophecy.
well, she pushes Gray Stripe too, but at the
They're
same time,
besties.
it's like right after, like not long after that, she's like pushing kits to start training
Like
ahead of
literal
when they're
days later. I
supposed
don't know how
to,
long the journey is that they go to get WindClan, but they become warriors.
like
They
3
go to
days.
that gathering. They come back. Blue Star the next morning is like, "Hey, we want you guys to go find WindClan." They
They
do.
literally go
They
out
come
that
back, and then they
night.
get apprentices.
They go out that night, they sleep overnight, wake up in the morning so they don't approach WindClan in the dark, and then they literally take them back that same day,
So
basically, is what
they've
my
been
understanding
apprentices
was.
for like 3 days at most, and yeah, because they get them, and then they sleep at the barn with
Like
barley in them, and then they're home the next day.
warriors, yeah.
3 days, and they get apprentices. Oh my god.
3 days and a mess up, and you get an apprentice as a
Yeah,
reward. I
three
mean, the
days and they
punishment.
accidentally kill someone. Oh,
That part had me so confused. We're gonna get like,
we're way far
I
than we
know,
should
but
be.
the further we get into this
We're
series, the
trying to
more my
show,
head's
like,
gonna
we're
hurt.
trying to make this timeline make any sort of sense, and it's like it made sense to me in my mind, but I was thinking it was 6 months because I was like, okay, that's why it's winter-ish. It's coming up on winter. It's like fall kind of thing, but it's not. It's
Wait a
literally not.
second.
Because they just said it's New Leaf. It's barely summer right now, but then
Did they
like
just
he gets Cloud Kit in the same month that he first mentors Cinderpaw, and they talk about how it's cold and snowy because he's worried that Cloud Kit's gonna freeze to death in the winter.
something's not adding up with like the actual like
Yeah, I'm
timeline, like
thinking
the
somehow
actual
there's some
time and
months
the
in here that are
season.
missed. There has to be. There's
But
no.
they do say like 2 moons later, or blah 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 later. Okay, now it's gonna be a matter of going back through the series and like writing down like every time they mention like a time skip or like a time
Yeah,
gap or like what season it is. And, like we're gonna figure this out.
we're gonna make a timeline, guys. We're gonna figure this out because, gosh, it is ridiculous trying to like it's not a canon thing that they train for 6 months. That seemed to be like the guess about the average kind of thing, which made sense to me. I just never realized how Firepaw and Greypaw just skip all of that.
I
Which
just feel like even then like an 8-month-old cat like is just so like
young,
immature still. Like
yeah.
even if they only live for like 7 years
Don't
like
forget,
in the
in this book,
wild.
Greystripe gets married in Fire and Ice too. So at 8 moons old or whatever. God. I'm curious, hold on, because they have a whole list of cats, how old they were when they died. I wonder what they say for Silverstream, because we're guessing what Greystripe by that point, because she dies in Forest of Secret. So at best, a year. Give them 4 months together. A year at best, I would get. I don't know, year 13, 14 moons, something like that.
I would say
I'll give her
16 at most.
16. Holy cow.
At most. And I mean seriously, like at most. That's like the like extreme high end.
Her approximated age of death is 29 moons, so about 2.5 years old. That's approximated. It's not like a guaranteed thing. But I mean, we'll have to continue this rant at because we're already dragging this video out like crazy. But I don't know. It's crazy how many of these things are going on at the moment. We do have before we get into our final things. Did you have anything else to add?
My brain's broken.
Mine too. Perfect. Now you know how I felt all day trying to figure out the stupid timeline. I thought I had it make sense until you pointed out that I was off by 4 months, which is massive when it comes to cats.
There's a possibility that I could have misheard something, but I don't think I
No,
did.
because like we described every gathering they go to.
Yeah.
They go to a gathering once a month. It's a thing. Um, but what was I gonna do? Oh yeah. So let me send you the thing. Have we both agreed on the name of this cat?
Yes.
All right. So we're thinking we didn't get too many names for this one, so please, give us names. We were thinking for this one though, Needletail, and I think we've agreed on it being a she cat, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this is Needletail, the she cat. We don't really know much more about her, but I will show you the first cat for this current week. This is the one we're going to be naming next. So don't give any names yet, but so you can think about it. That is it. I don't know if it's a boy or girl yet, but yes, that is the new cat.
It's a fairy.
It's like, hey, listen, if both Redtail and Rosetail can be described as like being totally different colors than their tail, then so can this cat.
I don't
Great.
think
Now
that's
people are
what
gonna
they
try to
meant.
name it like Fairy Tale. Ah, Fairy Tale! Oh my god, that's great, actually. But
You're welcome.
I do have a final surprise. I made my first ever fan art. Like legit fan art, not like, okay, I'm gonna generate it in AI. So before I show it, get it pulled up. Um, this is what I plan to do because I actually had a lot of fun making this. I'm making these for every cat who dies on screen. Or I guess not really on screen, but like named cat who dies. I'm going to make one of these for them. So I figure at some point we'll just have a collection of them because they're actually really fun to make. But because in this chapter Redtail died, that even though technically Oakheart did too, but we don't know about that till next chapter, which is why we don't have Oakhearts yet. But so I made fan art for Redtail, so here it is.
Oh.
I think it looks pretty good. For my
Oh.
first attempt, I love it. He's like a tortoiseshell cat with a distinctive ginger tail.
I like it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna try to do for every cat, guys. I'm not good at drawing, so like yes, it's an outline, but I colored it all myself. Okay, I did the shading and all that. But that is what I plan to do for all of them. So we'll see Oakhart's next. But yeah, any closing notes?
They'll be decorating the wall behind me. We'll have the tree next time, and we'll also have, not that anyone can see it yet, but we will add silver pelt up
Yes,
here, and for every cat that dies, we will smack a star up there, and
you're gonna
it'll have their
fill
name.
up the entire thing. You
I
said there's
mean,
like
it
what
can
over a
go.
thousand cats. You're gonna have like 700 to 800 stars up there.
It's okay. As they get reincarnated, we'll throw them away.
Oh well,
How about that?
perfect. But
Get it perfect.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, so we do have plans for future videos, so just make sure to keep an eye out for those. We have formed a new Discord specifically for Warriors. So I have my gaming Discord, and then we're gonna have the Warriors Discord specifically, so people can join in there. If you want to listen to us do our podcast, you can like comment. We'll see it, so we can actually talk to you guys while recording these. We have a fan art thing. We're forming our own clan. We don't even know the name of the clan yet. I've jokingly been calling it Omen Clan because that's what I named my last one. But we could call it whatever. We need ideas. But yeah,
I
please.
like Omen Clan.
I thought it was cool. I liked Omen Clan, but we need four of them. So far, all we have is Needletail and our soon-to-be this cat.
Fairy Tale.
And Fairy Tale. Yeah, that might have to be like its legit name now. I don't know what a cat knows about a fairy, but
I mean,
yeah.
it'll end up being Fairy Star of Omen Clan.
Oh yes, yes. It has to be like a fantasy one for like we're gonna have like vampire cats and stuff in there. These are the ones who can see the future. These could be some really. We could come up with some cool ones. But yeah, guys, have a good night. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.